Judge Michael Warren here with us today. He's a justice on the Oakland County Circuit Court, and he's also co-founder. How many of you have heard of Constitution Week? Patriot Week, yes. Okay, well, Judge Michael Warren.
Good. Still the morning. Can you hear me? Okay. Good morning. You can hear me. Can you hear me now? All right. It just switched on. Good morning. If you like what I have to say, I have a 15-second commercial. I have a little table over there, the Patriot Week brochures, and the book from which much of what I'm about to say, written by me, is over there for sale. Free autographs, $15 though for the book itself. And there's also a sign-up sheet for those of you that are interested in Patriot Week, where we will send you emails. We do not abuse that privilege. We understand we don't like spam and all that kind of thing. So, but if you're interested, please stop by the table. I'll be there through the late afternoon at least. If you are a patriot, if you think you are a patriot, I'd ask that you stand up. All right, we have a room full of patriots. Give yourself a round of applause. You can be seated now. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would I do that? Well, I think that most people think of themselves as patriots, and I'm here to talk about patriotism today, so I want to start with the definition of patriotism. Merriam-Webster says, love for or devotion of one's country. OxfordDictionaries.com says, a person who vigorously supports their country and is prepared to defend it against enemies or detractors. The preeminent English writer Samuel Johnson said, patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. Aldous Huxley said, one of the great attractions of patriotism, it fulfills our worst wishes. In the person of our nation, we're able, vicariously, to bully and cheat. What's more, a feeling that we are proudly virtuous. George Bernard Shaw said, patriotism is your conviction that this country is superior to all the others because you were born in it. So we have some very different versions of what patriotism means, right? Bertrand Russell says, patriotism is the willingness to kill and be killed for trivial reasons. Thoreau said, patriotism is a maggot in their heads. Oscar Wilde said, patriotism is the virtue of the vicious. Tolstoy said, patriotism is the principle that will justify the training of wholesale murders. Mark Twain said, patriotism is supporting your country all the time and your government when it deserves it. Thought that might ring a bell. Teddy Roosevelt, I think, gets us closer to the mark. Patriotism means to stand by the country. It does not mean to stand by the president or any other public official, save exactly to the degree in which he himself stands by the country. It is patriotic to support him insofar as he efficiently serves the country. It is unpatriotic not to oppose him to the exact extent that by that inefficiency or otherwise he fails in his duty to stand by the country. In either event, it is unpatriotic not to tell the truth, whether about the president or anyone else. And the last quote I have is from George Washington. Guard against the impostures of pretended patriotism. So, I think what we're learning from these quotes is that there's a virtuous patriotism and a dark patriotism. The Nazis were very patriotic Germans. So were the imperialist Japanese, and so were the Viet Cong, right? Great patriots. But we would not consider that to be virtuous. So I've made up a different definition for Americans. Patriotism is the love of country and fervent belief on America's founding first principles as articulated in the Declaration of Independence and embedded in the Constitution. I'm going to say it again. Patriotism is the love of country and the fervent belief in America's founding first principles as articulated in the Declaration of Independence and embedded in the Constitution. And if you look at patriotism in that extent, then this is the core. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That when any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to establish new government, laying its foundation in such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Those words from the Declaration of Independence were revolutionary in 1776, and they remain revolutionary today. And despite the controversy about America and our role on the world stage, America's always been controversial on the world stage, we remain a beacon of hope, a torch of liberty for billions of people across the world. Most people in the world live in countries where they wish their country was more like ours. Some people are so disgusted with their country, they'd rather just leave and come live here. And some people despise us so much they're willing to blow themselves up just to hurt our innocent civilians. And whether they love us or hate us, they're all motivated by those founding first principles articulated in the Declaration of Independence and embedded in the Constitution. The rule of law, unalienable rights, limited government, the social compact, equality, and the right to alter or abolish an oppressive government. That's what makes America America. It is not as fun as it might have been to watch March Madness and U of M going to the final. It is not Pokemon Go. It is not Miley Cyrus in her twerking. It's those founding first principles articulated in the Declaration of Independence and embedded in the Constitution. That's what makes America America. So by that definition, how are we doing? If you have to understand the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, we're doing really bad. 2/3 of our students scored below proficient on the last National Civics Assessment Test administered. Over 67%. Less than half of 8th graders know the purpose of the Bill of Rights. Only 1 in 10 had age-appropriate knowledge of the system of checks and balances. 77% of college seniors do not recognize James Madison as the father of the Constitution. 78% of college seniors fail to recognize the words of the Gettysburg Address. Only 28% of the public and 5% of private colleges and universities require even a single broad survey course in American history and government. 75% of Americans cannot articulate the 3 branches of government. 75% cannot tell you the 3 branches of government. But 3 and 4 can name the 3 Stooges. Over 40% of citizens fail the citizenship test given to the immigrants to become citizens, and that's an easy test. 75% of citizens could not explain why we fought the Cold War. We got some Cold Warriors in here. It's not any better in Michigan. And a recent survey about young people revealed that only 15% believe, this is like the millennial era, only 15% believe that the U.S. is better than other countries. So 85% think we're just like any other country. Now, this is a huge problem because as a free people, we are responsible for our freedoms and liberties. And Abraham Lincoln recognized this a long time ago, and he said it this way: "At what point then is the danger to be expected? I answer, if it is ever to reach us, it must spring up from amongst us. It cannot come from overbroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of free men, we must live through all time or die by suicide. Osama bin Laden or ISIS did not launch an amnesia bomb over the United States and wipe out our collective memory of our history and our civics. We have done that to ourselves. These are self-inflicted wounds. That is suicide. There are a lot of reasons why we got here. And I'm not going to go through them all, but they are in the book. They deal with the media, they deal with our political class, they deal with our education system. There's a whole slew of reasons. I want to talk to you about one that's pretty unique. I know some of you have heard about this because you've heard about Patriot Week, but it's worth remembering. So to give you some background, my father is a Jew, although he's really an atheist, and my mother is a disaffected Catholic, and I was raised as a nothing. My dad would always say, Mike, you can believe anything you want, just remember it's all bullshit. So, I was a very vigorous, you can see how shy I am, I was a very vigorous, outspoken atheist for many years. And then I went into high school, and I learned about a lot of other religions. I said, maybe there's a God, maybe there's not, maybe there's Hindus, maybe there's the Greek Pantheon, I'm not sure. I became an agnostic, and I was agnostic for a very long time. And then I went into law school, of all places, in Ann Arbor. My third year in law school, the Holy Spirit found me and I converted overnight, much to the shock of my family. Thank you. I called my little Italian grandma up and said, Grandma, you're going to take me to church one day. This Sunday. She goes, Michael? I go, yes. She goes, is this a joke? I said, no, you're going to take me to church. We go to church, I end up converting. Why do I tell you that? Because as an adult convert, I had to learn about this thing called the liturgical calendar. Liturgical calendar. We're in the Easter season. We just went through Holy Thursday, and Good Friday and Easter. There's Pentecost, there's Advent, there's Christmas. Why do we have all those days? To stop in the hustle bustle of our day and renew our faith. All the great religions do that. And America used to have a civic calendar. We have Washington's birthday and Lincoln's birthday, Memorial Day, Independence Day, and Thanksgiving. Why? To renew our faith in America. But what have we done with those days? Last time, when we declared independence, John Adams wrote to his wife Abigail that the anniversary of that day be forever remembered in America. It would be celebrated with fireworks and bonfires and parades and illuminations in the sky. And he was right. We still do that on July 4th. But he also said it should be a solemn day of devotion for the blessings of liberty. It ought to be solemnized. I don't know about you, the last time I had a hot dog at a July 4th party was not a particularly solemn occasion. We have hollowed out, commercialized, and cheapened all of our civic holidays. I was explaining this to my 10-year-old daughter at lunch one day, and she said, Dad, that's wrong. We need to do something. We need to start a new celebration for America. So we created Patriot Week. It begins on September 11th, ends on September 17th. Each of those days we celebrate a founding first principle from the Declaration of Independence, key documents and speeches that embody that, founding fathers and other great patriots made that come alive in America, and flags from our history. There is a lot of information on our website at patriotweek.org. I really can't, it is very grassroots. You can do it at your church, your Kiwanis, your Chamber of Commerce, your local political party, at your school, parades, whatever. All kinds of guest speakers. We have a National Library Initiative. There are many, many things that we do. But that's only one part of the whole story. If you want the whole story, you need to get the book. I will leave you with this. Our country is in grave danger. It's in grave danger because we, not necessarily the people in this room, you are the salt of the earth, but we, broad, have allowed us to get to this sorry state. And the forces of history hate America. They hate freedom. They hate liberty. They want to squelch it and extinguish that lamp of freedom, that torch of liberty. It's up to us to stop that. If we don't, we're going to go in the abyss just like every other country. And we'll lose our freedoms and liberties. It's up to you to make it happen, to save our country. God bless you, and God bless America.